Somebody tell me how to name the live. It's been a minute, y'all. Tell me how to name it. We are talking about baggage tonight, y'all. I'm so excited about this topic. We are talking about, do you have emotional baggage? And it really doesn't even have to be emotional baggage in general. Let me see if I can figure out how to name this. Okay, well, let's pin it. It'll work. All right, I'm trying to get my partner on here. So y'all just bear with me. Bear with us for a minute. What's up?
What it do? What's going on?
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. I know we ready to talk about this. Yes,
Listen,
indeed.
it's time. It's
Mhm.
time. So I want to start off by introducing you.
Okay.
So, y'all, this is Dion. He has become a good friend of mine. We have we actually did another talk together where we was kind of just touching bases on how it is being a believer. As a what would be considered millennials?
I don't know the technical, but
Uh
slick.
huh.
Yeah, slick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So, how it is being a believer, and a millennial, and so he has um a very studious mind, just a
Mm.
will to learn. He is full of a lot of wisdom, so I feel like he would be the perfect person to come on here, and join me tonight and talk about everything concerning baggage. And I'm excited. So y'all, say hey.
What's up? What's up?
um,
Man, I appreciate you inviting me for real. This is a topic that I know not only like I want to talk about, but I want people to learn about. You know what I'm saying? Like so many people think about it, like our world will be better if people were better. You get what I'm saying? So if people
yeah,
knew how to do relationships better, our relationships would be better. Meaning our friends, you know what I'm saying? Like we wouldn't have to go through so many phone calls or breakups and this and that if relationships are better. So if it could help people, man, I'm down. I'm down. I see a couple of people I invited. And let me invite a few more people before we start talking. Let me see.
hey y'all. I'm so happy to see everybody. It has been a minute since I've been on live. And I am so excited for y'all to join us tonight because this stuff is good.
Mm-hmm.
We talking about baggage tonight. We talking about if you have it, this is the safe space to say so. Because we're gonna talk about how it affects you personally.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna talk about how it affects other people. We're gonna talk about where it comes from, how we deal with it, all that good stuff. And I feel like you said it's something that we got to talk about because everybody deals with it.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm responsible for me,
Come
but I
on.
can't get me together,
Come
then
on.
it ain't no way that I can, come and be around other people and expect to form healthy relationships. It's just not possible.
Exactly.
So, well, you ready to dive in?
Man, let's do it. I'm I'm
Let's
I'm here. Let's get it.
let's do it.
I
I'm
gotta
trying to
be
wave
ratchet
at
real
people as
quick.
they're coming in.
I gotta be ratchet too. I see Dollar in here, Taryn in here. There's some people they told me they coming to listen too. Let's go.
That's
But
what's
yeah,
up. So we're gonna start off with the definition of baggage. And when I read this,
mm,
it really put everything into perspective because we say baggage like, oh, you got too much going on, you dealing with too much, you got
mm,
baggage, you know.
yeah.
But how many of us have really ever sat down and looked at the definition of baggage? Like, where did we get that from? So there's two definitions. So the first one says baggage is personal belongings packed in suitcases for traveling.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, luggage. And then the second one says past experiences, or long held ideas regarded as burdens and impediments. Impediments. So I'm like, okay, well, I don't use impediments often. So
Mm.
what does that mean? Impediments are hindrances, defects, and obstruction. I said,
Mm.
okay, let's break it down. Let's keep going, right? Because we hear obstruction of law, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I ain't never sat down and looked at the definition of obstruction. So
Right, right.
obstruction means block, be or get in the way of, to prevent or hinder, deliberately make something difficult.
Mm.
Deliberately make something difficult?
Yeah, that's big.
Okay.
That's big.
Okay,
That's
like
big.
that wraps
Mm.
it all up.
Right.
That wraps it all up for me because that's exactly what baggage does. It
Mm.
deliberately makes things difficult. It makes relationships difficult. It makes your life in general difficult.
Mm-hmm.
You walk around offended.
Mm.
You walk around overly sensitive. You know, you walk around frustrated, bitter. And I mean, tell me what you think about that, and y'all chime in the comments and tell me what y'all think about those definitions because they blew my mind.
Yeah, please do in the comments because I'm over here pondering and just unpacking what you said. You see how one definition took you to like a rabbit hole of like 10 more definitions? That's why I'm big on definitions. And so you
Mm-hmm.
said baggage is defined as an impediment. An impediment is defined as a hindrance or an obstruction. And what was obstruction one more time?
It means block,
A block.
be or get in the way of, to prevent or hinder, and deliberately make something difficult.
Mm. Wow. Yeah. What that speak to me is because so many other people like when we bring up baggage, right? Like how you were saying in the beginning, people like to point out other people's baggage.
Mm-hmm.
But what that said to me is I need to make sure I don't have baggage before I go into any relationship too. For
Mm-hmm.
real. Like that's what hit me because an obstruction could be anything. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like how the word obstruction took you straight to obstruction of law, right? A police officer or a bystander can be obstructing the law. That's a bar, right?
Yeah.
That's a bar, right? So it really just hit me like, man, like when we talk about baggage, not only do we got to define what it is or talk about what it is, but we need to know once we identify, like, okay, do I even have baggage? Do I bring baggage? So, man, them definitions them definitely hit me. Definitely. It said a hindrance or I'm finna write it down. I'm finna Google it. Look, an obstruction. I need that one more time.
Man,
For real.
I had to ponder on that for real.
Mm,
I'm gonna just read it one more time just in case you just coming in and you didn't hear. We're talking about baggage tonight,
mm,
and we're reading the definition of baggage right now. So the first one was personal belongings packed in suitcases for traveling, otherwise known as luggage. And I'm gonna get to that because that even that first definition already had me spiraling. Like my mind was
mm,
already
mm,
going on the deep end. And I'm gonna tell you why in a second. So that's definition number one: personal belongings packed in suitcases for traveling, otherwise known as luggage. The second definition is past experiences or long held ideas regarded as burdens and impediments. Impediments means hindrance, obstruction, or defect. Obstruction means to block, be or get in the way of, um, prevent or hinder, deliberately make something difficult.
mm.
So,
And I just picked up on something you said the second time. You said to block, to be, or get in the way. So you can be the obstruction yourself. Not even just necessarily the baggage, but
yes.
you can be the obstruction. And then my brother Taryn, he in the comments, he said, overly sensitive is a trigger for most people with egos or who think they have to have something to say back to someone who insults them. Yeah, that can be a form of baggage.
Mm-hmm.
Oversensitivity can be a form of baggage.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's because, man, shout out to Taryn for saying that. I feel like when somebody is oversensitive, it's because, especially in a new relationship, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
because of what they dealt with their past. And I remember when we was chopping this up, like getting ready for this talk, the sentence, the phrase that hit me, literally, what did I say? I said baggage. If you allow for baggage to stay in your life, it can be a prison that was meant to be a school.
Come on.
Think about that, right? So a prison is something that keeps you locked up, that keeps you in place. When a
Mm-hmm.
school is something that, yeah, it happened, and yeah, it might be hard, but it's going to teach you, it's going to catapult you into somewhere else. You go to school to get the degree to become something. You know what I'm saying? You don't go to school just to go to school. You know, so okay, even with past hurt or past pain, you went through that to get somewhere. So please don't let baggage be a prison, y'all. Do not let baggage be a prison. Let it be a school. Like if you go into every relationship, and that's business or romantic, with, oh, I was hurt in this way, so I'm expecting you to hurt me that way, your baggage has now become a prison. Your baggage is a prison now. And so that's exactly why we need to hear this. Like, I'm a firm believer that dialogue can change the world, right? So, like, just these talks, just talking with people, like, dialogue can change the world. That's why this is important, because I don't want to live in a world where I got to have relationships, whether business or romantically, with anybody. Not necessarily that anybody's going to have baggage, because I got a definition on that too, but not with anybody that's going to have baggage, but I want to deal with healthier people. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're healthy or you're positive, when you get around negative or unhealthy people, it affects you. So the only way you heal that is through dialogue, through communication.
Yeah,
For real.
for sure. Man, you talking good. You talking good because I mean, it's one thing to have to process yourself first, and then you got to go into the world and deal with other people.
Mm,
And we gonna get into that too because what happens when you encounter people who have more baggage than you,
mm,
right?
mm-hmm.
Or you the one bringing all the baggage. At some point, guess what? That load gonna get heavy, and somebody gotta
Mm,
help carry it.
true.
And if you in a relationship with somebody, guess what? They're gonna be looking for you to help.
Mm,
Now, because that picture that I put in my story, if y'all have not looked at that picture yet, where there's the man and the woman, and the man got a whole bunch of suitcases, and the woman got a couple suitcases, and if you read on the suitcases, it talks about um matter of fact that moves right into our next point. Cool. So
yeah.
um actually on the man's suitcases, he has different words on them
Mm,
because these are resembling baggage. So he's dealing with trust issues, mental trauma, toxic ex, secrets, fear, porn addiction, insecurities, and depression. And on hers, she also has some luggage with her. And on her luggage, it says heart on sleeve, anxiety, and childhood trauma.
mm-hmm.
So we all got something we dealing with, right? We all got luggage, but how much of it do you have? And
Mm,
that's why I kept emphasizing Bag Lady by Erica Badu
mm.
because when she talks about you can't hurry up because you got too much stuff, when they see you
Come
coming,
on.
people
Yeah.
take off running
Yeah.
because don't nobody want to help you carry your mess. I got my own stuff to
True.
carry. My
True.
bag's heavy enough. And then here you come and you got your stuff and I'm watching you carry your stuff,
Mm,
all this heavy stuff by yourself. At some point, you're gonna get to a place where and I wrote it down so that I didn't forget. At some point with him carrying all that baggage, and it could be a man or woman,
mm-hmm.
right? At some point he's going to need to rest.
That's
Right? He
big.
carrying
That's
all
big.
that stuff, he gonna need to rest. And what do a lot of us do when we need to rest from our baggage? We jump into relationships
Come on. That's good. Yep.
because we looking for somebody to fix us. We looking for somebody to help us carry our load.
Mm-hmm.
We cheat because now I'm feeling insecure. It's something you're not doing. Or something I'm thinking you're not doing. Something you're not
Right.
fulfilling for me.
So we search for it in somebody else or something else, right?
Yeah. Or we need to blow off steam. So then, you see instances where people abuse one another, whether that be
Mm,
mentally, physically, emotionally, you know,
Mm-hmm.
um, or he's going to ask her to help him carry his baggage because it's becoming too heavy. So, what do we do when we're expecting somebody to help us carry our baggage because it's becoming too heavy? Now we got soul ties,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now
Mm-hmm.
I'm dealing with stuff I never had to deal with before because you're dealing with it. So now when you come in
Mm-hmm.
the house, you got an attitude, you cussing me out. What if I ain't in the mood to be cussed out? At some point, now I'm dealing with insecurity, or I'm going back at you. Now I'm dealing with anger issues,
Mm-hmm.
all because of something that whoever I was dealing with was dealing with. And even that's something that I try to emphasize as well. Like when you decide to sleep with people, right? And you don't know them from a can of paint, they just attractive. You see them on the
Come on.
outside, you
Yep.
see nothing
Yep.
on the inside. And then you have relations with them, and next thing you know, money looking funny, your thoughts spinning, you can't stop
Mm-hmm.
worrying, you can't stop wondering, you creeping up on them, and you dealing with all this stuff that you wasn't even dealing with prior to them coming in. You was happy, you was fine, you had peace.
Right.
And little do you know, that's because that's the stuff that they've been dealing with.
Exactly. Man, I definitely wanted to speak on that too because when you said the picture of the bag, right? I'm gonna go back to the picture. I don't remember it specifically, but I do remember in the picture the man having more bags than the girl, right? And it seems like the girl's bags were like less than.
Mm-hmm.
But when I listened to you say it again, it's like okay, he had more bags, but sometimes even one bag can be heavier than a lot of small bags. So it ain't even about the quantity, right? It's the quality. But we gotta assess that quality with ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to be able to say, okay, like yeah, he did with X, Y, Z, but is me wearing my heart on my sleeve more potent than what he carrying? You get what I'm saying? That's just an example, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like think about because really think about that. If you got even if you got a bunch of bags, but they all got one thing in it, it's gonna be easier to carry than one heavy bag. So I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that's why everybody needs to address themselves. Like instead of like finger pointing, it need to be like, okay, I point the finger at me. Like
Mm-hmm.
because like you just said, that's big, right? So if you don't address yourself, then you getting into it with somebody and you become intimate with somebody because intimacy can be more than just sex, right? If you giving your heart to somebody, sometimes that can be bigger than sex. You know what I'm saying? With sex does come soul ties or spiritual ties, but when you giving your heart to somebody or your time to somebody, that's some stuff you cannot get back. All right, you can make more money, you cannot make more time. You cannot make a second heart. You know what I'm saying? So when you become intimate, whether that's sex, giving time, giving your heart, you do pick up on that person's habits or pick up on that person because you spend the time with them, right? But that's why we need to address ourselves before we give ourselves to somebody. Before
Mm-hmm.
you become intimate, you got to see how much baggage am I bringing into this relationship, and how much baggage, you know what I'm saying? Can do I deal with mine well before I, like you said, try to pick up somebody else's bag? You get what I'm saying? Because
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like that goes back to what I said, like allowing your past to be a school. You got to learn from it because if you did that before and it didn't work out, I'm that type of person, right? So I might not know 2 plus 2 is 4 right off the bat, but once I learn that it's not 5, I don't put 5 again. You know what I'm saying? Even if I got to
Mm-hmm.
learn that it's not 3 and it's not 6 until I get it. But once I know that it's 4, I'm going to put 4. You know what I mean? So it's like, and I think this is big too, right? So we take haircut seriously, we take nails seriously, we take where we buy our clothes from seriously, but we don't take who we give ourselves to seriously. Like people don't play about who do they nails, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
for real, right? Or fellas, we don't play about where we get our haircut at. Play about who you giving your time to,
Mm-hmm.
right? Really get to know yourself before you even get something to somebody. I wrote down something else that came to me. I said, right, oh yeah, because okay, think about it like this. We in a healthy relationship, you want to add value, right? You don't want, like you said, to be needy. Like, oh, I need this person to be good, or that
Mm-hmm.
person needs me to be good. You want to add value. But think about this. You only want to add value. You can only add value to somebody who value themselves.
Mm. Come on.
So if you ain't
Yeah, because
addressed
you
your
adding,
own personal
yeah.
baggage, right? You get what I'm saying? If you ain't addressed your
Mhm.
own personal baggage and know your worth and your value, how can I add value to you?
Mhm.
Right? So like that just stood out to me with that imagery of the bags. It's like, okay, even if somebody got a lot of bags, address how heavy yours are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like if certain things, like Taryn pointed out, if you got an insecurity about words or ego, you got to know that going into that, right?
Mhm.
Because any type of serious relationship, right? Because that's what we're talking about here, serious relationships. I'm not talking about F buddies or anything like that. We're talking
Right.
about serious commitment, right?
Mhm.
You committing yourself, then you are devoted. You taking away your vote, right? I think I've seen that in the Mike Todd sermon. You are taking away your vote. The word devoted means you take away your vote, which means I can submit to that person. And that's a whole nother subject because people get that word so wrong too. Submission, people think that's just doing what somebody say. No. If we really break down the word submission, sub means under, mission is goal. Can y'all get under the same goal?
Mm.
Right? In
Yeah.
order to get under the same
Yeah.
goal, you got to be on the same page. You got to be at the same level. I can't be under a goal and I can hold up 500 pounds. I'm just going to use an example, and you can't hold up but 100. We got to be on the same level to get under the same goal. Does that make sense? Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what y'all let us know in these
Yeah.
comments.
Y'all
What
tell
are
me in the
y'all
chat
thinking?
if I
Because
see a couple hearts, a couple amens, but yeah.
whew,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot. And like even just talking about it can be a trigger. Just even
Mm.
and I was actually just having this conversation right before I got on live where I was asking one of my friends like, why do you think people deal with baggage for so long? You know, why are there some people who just don't get over that hurdle, you know, where they can kind of say, I want to heal, I want to move forward, I want to grow. And he was saying some people just don't want to address it, you know,
That's
and it
true.
made me think about even like maybe some our parents back in the day, you
Mm.
know, they couldn't be emotional. They couldn't, you know, say, oh, well, something hurt my feelings or whatever, because they didn't have time for all that. They had a lot of things. They were closer to
Come
segregation
on.
than we were, you know, as far as just a lot of the things that they were dealing with just did not allow them to be so expressive.
Mm.
And so that comes down to us,
True.
right? And so we may not have ever been taught how to even tap into those places where we can look
Mm.
inside of ourselves and say, is something bothering me? Instead
Come
of
on.
being like, oh yeah, what's up? You know, just on the defense, you know?
Yeah.
And he was just saying some people are just afraid to address it because it may trigger something, you know? If you say, you know, if you decide, okay, I want to go to therapy, right? I want to go seek counseling, which I encourage wholeheartedly. I encourage it. It ain't nothing weak
Mm.
about going to counseling. If that's
Whatsoever.
what you feel like is going to push you to a place of healing, then do it. Um, but he was just saying, even in counseling, it requires you to step out of your comfort zone. It requires you to tap into those places that may hurt, that may make you cry, that may make you, you know, fearful, because you don't know what's on the other side of healing. But the hurting, you know. And so you and so it just made me think about how people are comfortably uncomfortable,
Comfortably
you
uncomfortable. That's a
know,
bar. That's a bar.
comfortably uncomfortable,
That's true
okay
though.
with being exactly how they are, even if it's not getting them anywhere.
Back to that analogy of letting your baggage be a prison. People get comfortable
Mm,
in prison.
that's
For real.
true.
People get comfortable
Yeah.
there because it's what you used to. I see somebody
Mm-hmm.
said loneliness. It was that like a trigger, but I know when what you just said. Damn, I'm trying to get my train of thought back. But you said something. Oh, it was therapy, right? And when we was
Mm-hmm.
talking about this, just precursor to the conversation, like we got to remember, like you just said, I want to make sure everybody know what you just said too. Ain't nothing weak about therapy whatsoever. Have I ever been? No, but I make sure I do what I'm about to say. When you really understand what therapy is, it is basic human interaction. It's talking. It's talking. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Find somebody that and I want to make sure I say this too, because it's not just talking, right? It's communication. Because and what I teach in the class that I taught, communication is defined as the transfer of thoughts from one being to another. So communication means not just talking, but listening, right? It's the transfer of thoughts. I can talk to them blue in the face, but if you didn't hear me, that's not communication. That's just me talking. And so basic human interaction is communication, right? So not only is it just talking to a therapist, but talk to yourself. You need to be able to check yourself before anybody can tell you you're wrong. You need to be able to say, I'm wrong. You need to be able to say, dang, I could have did better at that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's communication with yourself, the hard conversations with yourself, you know, and it's from good counsel. So of course, yeah, you can go get a licensed therapist, and that's great. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't have the finances or anything like that, find you some good counsel. Not just your homegirls that's gonna tell you F that nigga and da 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 da. Not just your homeboy that go say, man, shout out. No, good counsel. You know what good counsel is, because you know if you did that before, if you listen to your homegirl last time and end up in the same situation, that ain't good counsel. If you listen to your homeboy last time and the same situation happened, that's not good counsel. So find you good counsel, whether that's talking to yourself, even if you got to block out all your homeboys and talk to yourself, block out all your homeboys, talk to God, or find you, a licensed therapist. That's great. Either way it goes, at the end of the day, that's basic human interaction, which is communication. Whether that's with yourself or somebody that you trust to actually help you from the situation, not just distract you, right? Because like you said, you can speedball into another relationship, but that's a distraction. You can go drink, you can go party, you can go back to an ex, but that's a distraction. You know what I'm saying? I seen one of your posts last night. You said you ain't can't nobody spin the block. Because what they used to do, they still doing. So don't go back to no ex. Find you some good counsel. That's therapy. You know what I'm saying? I see some more people commenting.
A lot of people are afraid of being vulnerable because they assume the worst can come from opening up and allowing others to possess the knowledge to hurting them or key to triggering them negatively. Yes.
That's true. But that's like we talking about, that's a form of baggage for real, right? If you're not ready to be vulnerable, then you shouldn't be in a relationship. Because it takes submission, it takes commitment. Like you need to be secure in yourself and find somebody that's secure. That's another thing too, right? Like what I said earlier, like you want to add value to somebody that already value themselves, right? Your value shouldn't be solely from your spouse. You got to value yourself. You know what I'm saying? So, man, that's big. That's good. That's good.
So I got some questions. So I know I mentioned what the man and the woman were carrying in the picture. And I was wondering if any of us can relate to what they're carrying. So I'm gonna just read through again what they're carrying. Heart on sleeve, anxiety, childhood trauma, trust issues, mental trauma, toxic ex, secrets, fear, porn addiction, insecurities, depression. And I know for me personally, I think what I can relate to the most on here would be anxiety. So, and I think anxiety is very common today. I don't know if it just I don't know because I ain't never lived in any other generation, but I know that in our generation we experience it a lot. We're kind of that shift between coming from, okay, the generation before us wasn't really talking about their emotions, and the generation behind us talks a lot about their emotions.
That's true.
And we're kind of in the middle, like, okay, do I say something? Do I not say something? When I said something, was it the right thing to say? I see all my friends getting married, having kids. I'm still single. And in a lot of people's cases, they get on social media. A lot of us do get on social media, compare our lives to other people, thinking, oh, their life must be so much different than mine. When you have no idea. behind that camera, behind that screen, they
You
could
don't
not
know.
have a pot to piss in or one to throw it out of, and you just don't know that. And so for me personally, when I've experienced anxiety, sometimes it can come out of nowhere. You know, you just
Mm,
get that feeling in your chest, that makes you uneasy, or kind of nervous. And then sometimes anxiety can come from, you put in being put in a position that you don't particularly like being in. You
mm,
know, something that like triggers. You know, something that you've experienced in the past, and when you see anything that looks remotely close to it, you like, nah, I'm not going for that. So I would say for me personally, anxiety is something that I've dealt with, and how I combat that is first and foremost my faith. So
come
I
on,
will
let's go.
say this ain't no sermon, but I will say if you don't have a foundation, then it's going to be very difficult for you to have something to lean on
Mm,
when you don't know what else to do. And so for me, my foundation is my faith. And so that's where I turn. But also, being able to build connections, you know, being able to network with other people, see how they dealing with stuff. Talking to friends and family, being honest about how you feel, what you thinking, you know, asking somebody, you know, like, what do you think about this? And sometimes all you need is a simple conversation to be able to
mm-hmm.
move forward, you know. But I know a lot of people, they hold it in, and you hold all that in, then you dealing with panic attacks, you know, you dealing with depression, and that's something
Right.
that I dealt with for a long time, when I was in college, you know. But um, sometimes that's not even noticeable to people, you know.
Mm,
People can see the happiest person in the room and think, well, they look the happiest, you know, and they think, oh, everything's good for them, but really that person going home, you know, dealing with other things, and they don't know how to shake it.
right.
Um, and so I was just wondering, can y'all relate to any of those things, any baggage that you know you may have, or that you have experienced from other people, or you know, within yourself?
Man, y'all definitely comment and let us know. But just listening to yours, you're right. Like our generation specifically, but like you said, we haven't lived in any other generation. But our generation specifically, like, does deal with anxiety. You know what I'm saying? And it's like anxiety can be defined. I think I'm not sure, so let me not speak like indefinitely, but it can be defined in so many different ways. So many
Mm-hmm.
people experience different aspects of it, right? But I'm glad you said how you intentionally address it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so like we've been saying all night, conversations can change the world. So it's communicating with yourself first, with whoever you with in relationship with. You know what I'm saying? Like really let that be known. Like, hey, what I deal with and how you can be helped. You know, because like I feel like people when they don't know and are not addressing this baggage, you don't know, like we said earlier, how heavy that bag is. You know what I'm saying? Like one person might have a lot, but then one person might the only baggage is anxiety, but that anxiety bag is heavy. You know what I mean? And like you said, once it gets too heavy, you're gonna need rest and things fall apart. If you don't get the rest, then that's what happens. When something's too heavy, you fall. You know, and I feel like that's how a lot of relationships and things like that fall. But here's the biggest thing, another like gem that was just put on my heart. Like in any relationship, there's never going to be perfection. But what you
Mm-hmm.
should be looking for is evolution, right? Because think about this, right? While you was talking, this kind of just came to my mind. Even if what you're dealing with now is what you're dealing with now, eventually you'll deal with something else in the future. You know what I'm saying? Especially if we talking about committed relationships. Again, we ain't talking about spring smash, but it's some of we talking about committed relationships. So whatever you dealing with now might not be what you deal with at 41. You know what I'm saying? But you got to practice with yourself now to know, okay, no, you're not gonna be looking for nobody perfect. If you are, throw that out the window. I'm gonna tell you that's a movie. But can this person evolve? Can I evolve? You know what I'm saying? Like, am I able to evolve? Am I able to address my baggage now so I can address it? I know that I have the keys to address it in the future, and this person too. You know what I'm saying? Because, like you just said, with anxiety, that's something to deal with. but that might not even be something somebody deals with now, but they might deal with in the future. You know what I'm saying? So I see somebody else said anxiety, definitely. You know, but yeah, list off the baggage again. Let me see if it's something that I relate to. I know I did hear porn addiction, and that's so true because that bring up a whole nother spirit of comparison and you know what I'm saying, all kind of stuff.
For sure. So we have insecurities, we have depression, trust issues, mental trauma, toxic ex, secrets, fear, heart on sleeve, anxiety, childhood trauma.
Mm. Two that stood out to me for sure. Not maybe because I deal with them, but maybe because I just know a lot of people deal with them. Is that toxic ex and heart on sleeve, right? And so I feel like people are putting heart on sleeve in a negative aspect. I feel like it's okay to be yourself. At the end of the day, be yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? But know how to deal with yourself well enough to put yourself in position with people that can deal with you.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bar. Let me say that again. Be yourself, but know how to deal with yourself well enough to where you put yourself in position with people that can deal with you. Like if you're very emotional and very communicative, like to where you like to talk, don't deal with somebody who don't communicate well. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna need somebody that matches you, right? And like you said earlier, sometimes we get into these distractions, right? To where you speedball into another relationship. And so it's easy to pinpoint all the good. Like everything seemed good at the beginning. But are you spending enough intimate time with yourself to know that not only first and foremost yourself, but this person too, right? And like you said, you create soul ties. You be done spent time with them. You be done did this, did that, and like you feel like you should be with this person, although all these red flags don't arose, but you already connected. You know what I'm saying? So you got to know what baggage you coming with and what they coming with, and that's only done through communication. If y'all not talking about, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this in the sermon too, but I'm gonna just say it now. So I do got a whole sermon about redefining relationships, redefining love, and redefining marriage or whatever, right? And I said this in one of the sermons that I wrote. You cannot know how you gonna build a future if you only talking about one thing or one or two things, right? And what I mean by that is this: you get mad at their spending habits, and you get mad at commitment issues and stuff like that. But all you talked about in the beginning was what's your sign or what's your favorite position.
Mm. Mm-mm. Talk about it.
You understand what I'm saying? Like everybody, that's all we talk about is what's your sign. Oh, I'm compatible with that sign. I'm not. But you ain't talk about the real stuff. You ain't talk about how you deal. How do you act when you get mad?
Mm-hmm.
How do you act when you sad? What do you need when you're sad?
Mm-hmm.
Do you need space? Do you need somebody to be there? I'm one of them people like I really don't like space particularly. You know what I'm saying? It's like I need to know that somebody's there, but you got to communicate that. If you're not communicating that, then when it arrives, now you stuck. All right, but by
Mm-hmm.
now you already done tested out them favorite positions in zodiac signs, so you stuck. You get what I'm saying? Look, they hard in
Yeah.
that part. They liking that.
For sure.
Somebody else said childhood trauma is one of the biggest. That's true too.
Mm-hmm.
Any of these traumas, if it's not addressed, I think I saw your post. You reposted something that said if it's not addressed, it'll be addressed in your relationships, and that's because in these romantic relationships, you should be your most intimate, but that's where you are your most intimate. So
Mm-hmm.
you know the people at work not gonna know the most intimate version of you, but your spouse
Mm-hmm.
is. So, but you need to know the best version of you. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I'm gonna keep saying that because for the people that's coming in, you can only add value to somebody who value themselves
Yep.
for real.
For sure. For sure. And you know what? I think it's very interesting how a lot of people get into positions that they're not particularly ready for. So I just
Mm.
want to touch on that real quick because even in having baggage, like you said, if you don't check yourself first, you'll find yourself out here asking people to be something that you are not.
Say that
You know
again,
what I'm saying?
man.
If you don't look at you first, you will find yourself out here asking people to be something that you are not. And what I mean by that is if I don't know who I am, I don't know what I got going on. If I don't have anything to my name, I don't have nothing solid about me, obviously I'm going to look for stability elsewhere, right?
Mm. Mm.
But why should someone who's stable be attracted to someone who isn't,
Come
right?
on.
Why should someone who is confident and sure and, you know, favored and blessed in all these different areas in life be attracted to somebody who is the exact same person they was 5, 10 years ago?
Hmm. Man,
There's
that's
no
that.
growth.
Mm.
And so what begins to happen in a lot of relationships is that if we're not on the same level, somebody has to pick somebody else up. Because if you don't climb, I got to come get you. If I
Mm.
want us to do this together,
Hmm.
and you end up in, I meet people all the time. They say, you know, my ex didn't appreciate me. You know, they never tell me that, you know, they appreciate what I do. They don't thank me for anything. They expect certain things. You know, they want people to chase them. You know, they want you to answer every single phone call. Like
Come
there's
on.
no there's no room for growth. You
Mm.
know, there's no room for error because you're so fragile. You're so fragile. So whenever something happens, you turn into someone who just puts up a wall. You become emotionally unavailable. You know, you just put on your guard, your defense mechanisms. And if you don't know you, then you don't know that you're gonna do that. You don't know that you
Hmm.
have certain. You don't know your triggers. You don't know that, you know, okay, if somebody do X, Y, and Z to me, it's gonna cause me to do this. These are things that people need to know.
Right.
That's how that's how you end up with cases like Snap. You know
True.
what I'm saying?
True.
Where you really go off and, you know, people joke about that kind of stuff like, don't try me because I
Right.
got
Look,
bills to
somebody
pay,
in the
house
comments
and
say that
all
too. That's what people. That's just how I am. That's man. That's so real. People,
that.
man,
No.
no. Right.
It's real though. It is real. And even at our ages, because I'm just 26, right? So I'm
Mm.
young in a lot of people's eyes. So even at our ages, we still have so much to live for, right?
Hmm.
But we've come from a lot as well. And like you said, if you're not learning these things about yourself, how can you expect somebody else to come in and learn something that you still don't know and you've been dealing with you for all your life? It makes no sense. It makes
Man,
no sense.
man, talk about it. I was gonna say that too, right? It was two things you said that stood out to me. One was attraction. I'm gonna definitely address that, but okay, I can do that first. So with attraction, it's easy to be attracted to anybody or anything. You can be attracted to somehow how somebody smells. They walk by and
Hmm.
they smell good. You know what I'm saying? Like, so attraction ain't the problem. It's that building thing, right? And so
Hmm.
that's why I say communication is healthy, even with yourself, right? So if you being real with you and you know how long it took you to get where you at, what in the world make you think it's gonna be easy to build somebody else up, right?
Hmm.
That's why I like, okay, like, again, it's not a sermon, but that's why the Bible say be equally yoked, be on the same level, be on the same mindset, be on the same page. Because like I used an analogy earlier, if I can bench 500 pounds, you can't bench but what 100. You're really not a help to me. It's like you said, I'm gonna always have to come down, and that gets draining, right? So you need to be having communication and conversation with whatever person. With it again, with this go, I feel like this touches on any relationship, business or romantic. You need to be having conversations with whoever you're in relationship with that says that gets to know these things. You know what I'm saying? Like it's got to be deeper than attraction. Can I build with you? You know what I'm saying? Like can I? Again, I'm gonna keep saying it. I can't add value to somebody who don't value themselves. I can't. Somebody can't add value to me in the areas that I don't value myself in. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be a mutual thing. It's got to be, man, like, are we on the same page? But we got to communicate that. Like, man,
Yeah.
you know.
So I said I was gonna touch bases on that first definition. Um, so when I first started thinking about baggage, this is the very first thing that came to me. I'm a person of analogies. I love them. They make
Me
sense. You
too.
know, when I can make something make sense in another way, then it
Mm.
just brings everything together for me. And so, that first definition for baggage was personal belongings packed in suitcases for traveling, otherwise known as luggage.
Mm.
So I literally envisioned a suitcase, right? So you only pack a suitcase when you're going somewhere.
That's a bar. That's a bar already.
Okay,
That's a bar already.
I
Be
mean,
quiet. Go ahead. Go ahead. That's a bar.
so you only pack a suitcase when you're going somewhere, and when you put particular items in your suitcase, you don't just throw anything in, right? If I'm about to go to Mexico in the summertime, probably not gonna throw in a bubble coat. That I probably wouldn't throw some Uggs in there, right? I'm gonna pack what I feel like I need for the trip, right? So that's point number two. I'm packing what I feel like I need,
Mm.
right? So, okay, cool. I done packed my essentials, right? And I get to where I'm going. I have my trip. I do my thing. It's time to go home. It's time to pack my things up and go to the next destination.
Mm.
And it's important to unpack when you get home. This is why I said it's important to have a foundation. I'm gonna break down each point that I'm
Come on. Come
making.
on.
So when you get home, you're supposed to unpack because you worn those clothes. They're used.
Mm.
You need to pack something else, right? So what happens if you don't unpack and you move to the next destination? You
With the
bring some
same
dirty
luggage.
stuff with you.
Ooh, with the same luggage. Come
You
on.
got the same luggage, the
Mm.
same essentials in that bag, and you move into another location. Well, guess what? By the time you get to where you're going and it's time to put those clothes back on, you're going to smell.
Mm.
So not only am, if it's my luggage, not only am I going to smell myself, but whoever I go visit is gonna smell it too. They're gonna be able to
Mm.
tell that I did not unpack before I came to see them.
That's a great analogy.
So I envision the luggage as my heart.
Mm.
So if I take my heart wherever I go, right? And if I done packed in my heart my essentials, the things that I feel like I need, security, stability, confidence, faith, all these different things, right? Those are the things I feel like I need. But if you dealing with trauma, you dealing with pain, guess what? You may not pack those things
Mm.
because you don't understand the season. You don't understand the times. You don't understand that it's time to do something new. It's time to have a
Mm.
different perspective. It's time to look at life differently. So
Mm.
you may be packing. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, my AirPod died.
Yeah.
So you may be packing what you thought you needed, such as those things that we mentioned, wearing your heart on your sleeve. And that can be a difficult thing when, like you say, you're dealing with somebody who may not be emotional. So
Mm.
they don't know how to accept that, right? You may pack anxiety, you may pack childhood trauma, trust issues, mental trauma, toxic ex, don't know how to leave them alone and walk away, secrets, fear, porn addiction. So you sleeping with whoever you meet,
Mm.
insecurities, depression, right? These are the things that you may feel like you need to protect yourself so that you can get to where you're going, right? And regardless, you're going to go to the next location, right? So you get to your next destination. I'm looking at that destination as a relationship, whether that be business, like you said, or whether that be personal. So when you show up, you're going to put on what you brought with you.
Come on, man. That's good. Man, you
You're
teaching.
going to put on
You
what you
teaching.
brought with you.
And that's what's going to show up in the face of whoever it is, whatever it is that you're supposed to be dealing with in that particular moment,
Mm,
right? So you do your thing, you perform, you behave as you see fit in that particular occurrence, that particular relationship, right? Okay.
mm,
Now it's time to go home, right? Now it's time to go where they're not. Now it's time to deal with me, right? By myself. And a lot of us don't have a home because a lot of us don't have no faith.
mm,
A lot of us don't have a God to call on. And a lot of us don't have a foundation. So when you go to that space where you're meant to unpack,
mm.
whether that be, like you said, in therapy, in counseling, whether it be in prayer, whether it be you just going to the middle of the field screaming to the top of your
Yep,
lungs,
yep.
whatever it takes for you to be able to unpack, let it go, ease up, relax. If you don't have that space, if you don't have that space to unpack, you're gonna go to that next relationship, that next encounter with the same stuff. And when you get there, you're going to show up the same exact way that you showed up the first time. And not only am I going to be frustrated because I don't look good, I don't feel good, I don't smell good. I don't feel my best self because I didn't clean myself off. I didn't dust
Mm,
myself off before I went into that next relationship. And a lot of people will do this. They will say, I've been single for X amount of time,
mm-hmm.
right? So I must be good. I must be able to go into a relationship. But then you don't know, you don't know that you're
But did
good
you unpack
until
though? That
it's
that's a
time to
that's the
go.
bar for tonight. But did you unpack though?
Did you unpack?
Did you
Because you
unpack
could
though?
you
Man, that's
been
the bar.
sitting on the couch in your dirty drawers all this time,
Stinking.
stinking. And here you come thinking, well, I've been chilling. I ain't been doing nothing, so I must be clean. We all know that if you go outside, even if you didn't sit outside all day, when you get back in the house, you're going to smell like a piece of outside.
Yep.
You need to go get in the shower and clean off. And a lot of us don't take the time to sit down and clean off. So we
Man,
keep.
I'm still pondering on that analogy. I hope y'all got that analogy in the chat for real, cause
I, I know,
that
I
analogy.
know it was a lot, but it really had my mind just like, wow, this is really how we operate.
Mm,
And then we expect to be able to do laundry at somebody else's house. Whew. We
still dropping
expect
bars.
for
Still dropping
somebody
bars.
else to be able to take care of our mess.
Mm,
And
for
that's
real.
not ideal. Because why should I clean up your mess if you didn't take the time, you didn't take the attention and put it towards cleaning up your own stuff? It's not
Mm,
my responsibility to wash your clothes if you didn't have a first instinct to wash your own. And a lot of us don't even know how to say, hey, I brought something with me.
mm.
A lot of us don't know how to come before somebody and say, you know what? I'm just go ahead and give you a disclaimer that I deal with boom, boom, boom.
Come on.
So then you find out as they start smelling,
Come
as you be around them long, and they start
What's
smelling you.
up when you find out something stink? Come on, man. Come on. Man, I think that's
Yeah,
big. That's big. That's big. Hey, like you said though, I wanted to touch on this, especially with that analogy, like having a home to go to, right? Having like somewhere to go to unpack. Because when you don't unpack, you might not even realize what you brought with you. You know what I'm saying? You might, like you said, you think you're ready to go to this new destination. You know what I'm saying? Like in an example, how you said you want to go to Mexico, but you don't realize if I didn't unpack when I left Colorado, I still got a bubble coat in my bag. And that bubble coat is not going to do me any good in Mexico.
mm,
Period. You get what I'm saying? So that bubble coat could be an analogy of a toxic ex. You know what I'm saying? And even though yeah, you far away from the toxic ex, you still deal with traumas of what you dealt with her, or what you dealt with him. You get what I'm saying? You don't your nature might be to joke around, but you don't joke around as much because joking around led to fighting in that last one. Not knowing that, hey, this person that you with might love to joke around. You get what I'm saying? So like you gotta have a place to unpack, and just to bring a little bit of God back into it. I know there's not a sermon, but in the Bible it talks about David. It says David was a man after God's own heart. That's because David unpacked his heart every chance he could. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? If you read the Psalms, David was telling God, and I preach this because a lot of people feel like you can't be real with God. David was telling God, God, I feel like you left me. God, I feel da 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 da. But in the same psalm, he'll come back and be like, but I know you here, because he done tried it. You get what I'm saying? So even going back to the bag analogy, you got to have a home to wash and unpack at, but it's always going to be certain things you're going to make sure you have in that bag. So like you said, for you, that's faith. You know what I'm saying? That faith could be the deodorant in your bag. You got to take that. I don't care if it's cold or hot. You need that. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Otherwise, you will
Mm-hmm.
be stinking. So, but man, that was deep right there. Like, have a place to unpack before you go to your next destination. But if you speedballing through your destinations, you're not gonna have time to unpack. Like we talked about in the beginning of this talk. Like, if you going from relationship to relationship to relationship, you will bring so much baggage. Even if it feel like your bag is light, you bringing baggage because you never unpack. You never took the time to deal with you. Please don't expect nobody else to deal with you. You got to deal with you. You get what I'm saying? So, man, I'm using that one. I'm taking that one. I'm taking that bag analogy. I'm taking that one. For
Oh yeah,
real.
got some comments. David was very transparent and repentful. Yes, yes, you have to be transparent. You
Mm,
have to be able to say, I struggle with some things.
come
I'm
on.
not perfect. If you can't say that, and you just been going from, place to place, thinking that it was always somebody that hurt you and never that
Mm,
hurt anybody,
come
you
on.
never begin to look at yourself from a place of being able to get to that place of repentance, because you feel so much ego, you don't think you did anything wrong.
Mm,
You meet a lot of people, and you say, why are you single? How was your last relationship? Oh, my ex did this and that.
come on.
Very rarely do you hear people say, I wasn't ready. I wasn't able to do the things that it took to keep that relationship going.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be a bad thing. If anything, I respect your honesty. I respect your
Come
transparency,
on.
because that means that you recognize that something was going on. You recognize where you fell short. You able to be transparent. So what that tells me is that you don't hold pride. At least I know that may not be something you dealing with, that you don't deal with pride, because we all know pride is huge, a huge killer.
Mm,
When you're dealing with pride, you don't know how to apologize. You
come
know,
on.
you need that in all relationships, because you're going to offend somebody, whether it be intentionally or unintentionally, you know. But a lot of us don't want to admit that we were the ones that smelt bad,
Come on.
you know.
Man, you talked about that earlier. You said, even if something stayed in your bag, right, that you didn't mean to bring, you said talk to that person and let them know, hey, I might have brought this. That's honesty. That's communication. I'm scrolling back up. I think it was Yemi Olu who said a lot of people are afraid of being vulnerable because they
Mm-hmm.
assume the worst can come from opening up and allowing others to possess the knowledge to hurt them or key to trigger them negatively, right? So it's a lot of people that's scared to open up because they feel like, you know, that's a vulnerability and I can be hurt if I open up. But if you don't open up, this is why you got to be ready. You got to be packed yourself. You got to know what's in your luggage. Because if you don't open up or if you don't do what you just said, hey, I do have this in my bag, then you'll know if that place is hospitable for you to wash in. That's a
Yeah.
bar too now. Come on.
Woo.
If where you wash at is your home, right? You're not expecting them to wash for you. But if you're going to wash and make that place your home, you need to be comfortable to wash there, right?
Yeah.
And that's big for me. I don't want nobody that can't accept me, right? Like, period. So for me, it's like, okay, if this is going to be a home, I need to be comfortable washing, but so does that person too, right?
Mm-hmm.
We both got to be open enough to say, hey, this might be in my bag, that might be in your bag, but at least we talking about it. We're not just walking around with something stinking in our bag, right?
Mm-hmm.
And ignoring it, or eventually to where it becomes a problem. You know what I'm saying? So you got to, again, that's why this whole thing really been communication. If you can't communicate with yourself, y'all, I came through. But if you can't communicate with yourself first and foremost, you're not ready, right? Because you got to be able to have that conversation, like you just said. That was a bar too, to be able to stop pointing the finger at everybody else and say, "Hey, I wasn't ready."
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. And I'm gonna put this out here. If you plan on trying to manipulate somebody, if
Mm,
you plan on trying to make yourself um glitter and you ain't gold, then don't deal with nobody who got discernment. I would tell you that right now. Do not
mm,
deal with somebody who has been through some things. You're gonna have to find you somebody who ain't experienced nothing. Because when you get to somebody who has been through some things and they've learned their lessons, yes, it will show up with discernment. It's gonna show up. It's gonna show up in your behavior, it's gonna show up in your words. It's gonna be written all over you. You're just gonna have um that whole aura about you that something is not right with you, you know? And so I'm saying that to say that you can only fake it for so long.
mm,
So if you don't take heed to, taking time to learn yourself and understand who you are as an individual, at some point it's going to show up, and you can't hide and you can't run from it forever.
that's
And
true.
I'm going to go back to that luggage analogy, because even when you go to the airport, at some point it's going to be a checkpoint.
Come on.
At some point
Are
you're
you
going
gonna make it through
to
baggage claim?
prove if you can get to the other side.
Come on, that's
Because
good.
if there's something in your bag that is not permissible to be on a flight, it gets snatched from you.
Hmm.
Okay? And I'm talking about, okay, you dealing with pride, you got a big ego, you don't know how to apologize. You're not going to be able to get with somebody who is understanding. You're going to deal with somebody who is probably constantly coming at you, constantly, accusing you of things because you're not honest.
Mm,
You're going to run into situations where opportunities are taken from you because you don't know how to put yourself aside long enough to deal with somebody else, to not take something personal or whatever the case may be. And those are things that you have to be able to do in relationships. So I'm just saying that checkpoints are going to come up in life where you're going to have to show up and prove that you're able to handle what it is that you're receiving. You know what I'm
mm.
saying? That's how breakups happen. Because at some point, somebody wasn't showing up the way
Come
that they
on, come
wanted
on,
to.
man. All of that imagery just gave me an analogy that I want to drop real quick. I want to make sure, like, man, I hope everybody in the chat is this is feeding them. You know what I'm saying? But I want y'all to know too. We speaking to the people again that want a committed relationship. Again, whether that's business or romantic. Our generation, and because we talking our generation, we the microwave generation, right? But when that word just came to my mind, microwave generation, you got to think about what would be better for you, right? A microwave pizza or something hearty like beef stew. The beef stew gonna take more time. So, like how you
Mm-hmm.
just said, when you giving yourself to somebody intimately, and again, intimately don't just mean sex. It could mean it definitely means sex, but it could mean your time, your heart, all this type of stuff. If you giving yourself to somebody that fast all the time, you speedballing, you are only getting microwave food. You know what I'm saying? Like you are only getting
Mm-hmm.
something quick and fast, but it's not filling, right? Like, and so it's up to you if you want to keep going through microwave food. When you eat microwave food, you're gonna be hungry 3-4 times a day, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love Tostitos pizza, the square kind. All right, Tostitos sponsor me real quick. But I love them things, but it don't fill me up,
Mm.
right? Although it take a little longer to get a hearty meal that your grandma might have made or beef stew, whatever you want to call it, it fills me up. You know what I'm saying? So we talking right now to the people that want beef stew. Like
Mm.
you gotta wait, you gotta identify your baggage. I like that analogy too. Like, because whatever's in your bag that you didn't know was there, if it can't get on that plane, you're not going to that destination. Or before you go into the destination, it's gonna be taken from you. Somebody said, please say this live.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then
mm.
somebody else said, come out of the microwave lifestyle. For real.
Oh,
For real. If that but listen, keep eating microwave food. You're gonna stay hungry. Stay hungry. Like get you something that's gonna be fulfilling. So all these tips that we giving is coming from experience, but it's for a beef stew lifestyle,
mm-hmm.
right? This ain't for microwave. If you want to keep doing microwave, you're gonna eat 3-4 times a day,
Yeah,
and
have
that get draining. That get because you're spending money, you fixing food. Nobody likes to fix food. I'd rather eat something that's gonna be sustaining, right? So
mm,
we want sustainable relationships, and again, that's romantic or business. If and I'm gonna speak on the business side too, because I know tonight has kind of been alluding to the romantic side. But if you always got to start over with a new group, a new project, a new this, and that's because what are you doing to make sure those business relationships are sustainable too?
mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? Oh, my last people, they cheated me out of this type. Okay, you got to fix you. You got to have that communication with you. But certainly for romantic relationships too. Certainly.
Yeah. Whew. We saving this one for
Come
sure.
on, say this one. Got to.
This is something to come back to, and even in the amount of time that we have here tonight, it's just it's not even enough to just unpack everything. But I think that here tonight we've mentioned a lot of good things, a lot of great perspective. We've had some great perspectives in the comments,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, where
I'm
can
here for it. For sure.
I have been blessed. I hope y'all have,
For sure.
because it really make you look at you.
Come on.
It really makes you, just take that inventory. Take that inventory of your heart. What are you pouring out? How are you showing up when you go before others? It's not it's not your responsibility to try to change nobody else. You can only change you.
That's it.
And change you, you will begin to see, like you said earlier, what relationships can cultivate, what relationships can be sustainable. But if you don't start with you, you'll take anything, because you don't know what's going on. So man,
Man,
that's
look, they say it blessed me too, for real. So say this. I'm gonna go back and watch it myself. I want to hear some more of these gems. But
man. We're gonna have to do this again. I know you said you want to talk about relationships.
let's do it. Listen, I'm here whenever. I'm here whenever. Let me know.
Bet.
We definitely
Sound
gotta come back for a part two.
for sure. For sure. I appreciate you so much for coming on tonight. I appreciate your perspectives. You are absolutely amazing, full of wisdom, full of good energy, and I'm so grateful for you coming and joining us tonight. Finances next. Oh, that's a
Hey,
good
that's
one.
a big one. Come on, that's
That's
a
a
big
good
one.
one. We gonna have to have her on here because Shotty just got a house.
Oh yeah, let us
So
speak on that one. Come, look
okay, so she know all about the finances and what it takes to get to that next level. So that's gonna be a real good one.
for sure. But I appreciate you having me on. Look, I don't want to be rude for this phone dial. I'm gonna get off. But
All
y'all
right,
be blessed.
all right, all right, y'all. How do I save it? How do I save it? Do I just hit the X?